Most people think the end of independence happens in a hospital bed. It doesn't. It happens at a kitchen table, looking at a $10,000 a month bill for a room that smells like bleach and lost dignity. You've worked 40 years to own your life, but right now, a single fall or a bad day could hand those keys to a corporation. They call it skilled nursing, but for many, it's a warehouse for the forgotten. In the next 25 minutes, I'm revealing the 3 hidden blueprints to stay out of the system forever. This is how you reclaim your final decades. We all share a common dream: to grow old in the places we love, surrounded by the echoes of our own history. But for many of us, that dream is currently under threat by a system that views aging as a clinical problem to be managed rather than a stage of life to be honored. When you hit your 70s or 80s, the world starts looking at you differently. They stop seeing the engineer, the teacher, or the mother, and they start seeing a risk factor. The fear of losing your independence, of being told you can no longer safely boil a pot of water or navigate your own stairs, is perhaps the greatest weight a human heart can carry. It's the fear that your life will eventually be packed into a single suitcase and moved into a 12 by 12 room. But what if I told you that the nursing home is not your only destination? What if the path to safety didn't require you to surrender your soul? The reality of the modern nursing home industry is, quite frankly, a quiet crisis that most people are too afraid to look at until they are standing at the intake desk. We are currently facing a silver tsunami, where the sheer number of seniors requiring care is outstripping the available quality facilities. This has led to an era of warehousing. In many of these corporate-run centers, the focus has shifted from care to compliance and cost-cutting. You see it in the eyes of the staff, people who often want to help but are stretched so thin they can barely remember a resident's name, let alone their preferences. When one aide is responsible for 14 or even 20 residents during a night shift, care becomes nothing more than a series of checked boxes on a clipboard. It is a system designed for efficiency, not for humanity. Think about the psychological impact of seeing a date circled on a calendar, the day you leave your home and enter a facility. The word facility itself feels cold, doesn't it? It suggests a place where things are processed, not where lives are lived. For many, this transition marks the social death that precedes the physical one. You lose your kitchen, the heart of your home. You lose your garden. You lose the right to decide when you eat, who you see, and when you sleep. The greatest tragedy of old age is not that one becomes senile, but that one becomes invisible. We are here today because visibility matters. We are here to talk about the alternatives that the big healthcare conglomerates don't advertise, because these alternatives keep the power and the money in your hands. Let's look at our first alternative, the adult family home. This is a concept that is quietly revolutionizing senior care across the country. Imagine a regular, beautiful house in a quiet residential neighborhood, the kind of house where kids play on the sidewalk and neighbors wave to each other. Inside, instead of 60 or 80 residents, there are only 5 or 6. It is a licensed, professional care environment, but it looks, smells, and feels like a home. Why? Because it is a home. In these settings, the ratio of caregivers to residents is often 1:3 or 1:4. This means when you want a cup of coffee, someone knows exactly how you take it. When you feel like sitting on the porch, there's someone to walk with you. It's the difference between being a patient and being a member of a household. One of the most overlooked aspects of the adult family home is the food. In a large-scale nursing home, food is often prepared in a central industrial kitchen, transported in heated carts, and served on plastic trays. It's nutrition, but it isn't dining. In an adult family home, the smell of sautéing onions or baking bread wafts through the entire house. The caregivers cook in the kitchen while you sit in the living room. You can hear the sizzle of the pan. Food is the ingredient that binds us together. Eating a home-cooked meal at a shared wooden table with 4 other people creates a sense of belonging that no institutional dining hall can replicate. And the best part? These homes often cost 40% to 50% less than a private room in a traditional facility because they don't have the massive corporate overhead of a multi-story institution. The emotional weight of these smaller homes cannot be overstated. When you walk into a traditional facility, the first thing you notice is the clinical hum, the sound of rolling carts, beeping monitors, and the muffled television from a dozen different rooms. But in a small-scale adult family home, you hear the sounds of life. You hear a radio playing in the kitchen, a dog barking in the yard, and real conversation. This social intimacy is the ultimate medicine for the loneliness epidemic that kills more seniors than heart disease does. Statistics show that residents in these smaller, home-like settings experience 30% lower rates of depression. Why? Because they aren't just a number on a chart. They are a person at a dinner table. When you have only 5 neighbors, you aren't just coexisting. You are forming a micro-community that keeps your brain sharp and your heart full. Now, let's pivot to a second, more modern alternative, senior co-housing. Imagine owning your own private, beautiful apartment or cottage, but it's part of a larger, intentional community designed specifically for active aging. This isn't a retirement home. It's a neighborhood that you and your peers actually manage. In these communities, you have your own kitchen and front door, but you also share massive common spaces, industrial-sized kitchens for group dinners, woodshops, art studios, and lush gardens. It is the perfect balance for the person who says, "I want my privacy, but I don't want to be alone." Independence is a middle ground between isolation and institutionalization. By sharing resources like lawn care, security, and even certain meal costs, residents in co-housing often see their monthly living expenses drop by nearly half, all while gaining a built-in support system of friends who are looking out for one another every single day. But what if you don't want to move at all? What if your current home is where your heart is, but you're starting to realize that changing a light bulb or getting to the grocery store is becoming a monumental task? This brings us to the most ingenious solution of 2026, the village model. Think of the village as a virtual support layer that sits right on top of your existing neighborhood. It's a membership-based nonprofit, often costing less than a single day in a nursing home for an entire year of access. MC4. When you join a village, you aren't moving into a facility. You are moving into a network. You gain access to a vetted list of volunteers and service providers who come to you. Whether it's a ride to the cardiologist, someone to fix a leaky faucet, or a group of neighbors walking together on Tuesday mornings, the village ensures you never have to leave your zip code to get the help you need. The magic of the village model is the vetted volunteer. In the corporate world of senior care, people are paid to help you, and while many are wonderful, there is always a transactional nature to the relationship. In a village, many of your helpers are your own neighbors who simply want to give back. When a neighbor drives you to the store, they aren't looking at a clock, they're asking about your grandkids. This model preserves your dignity because it feels like community, not charity. It transforms the scary parts of aging, the logistics of daily life, into opportunities for social connection. We've seen members stay in their original family homes well into their 90s simply because they had a village to catch them when they tripped. It's about building a safety net made of people, not of brick-and-mortar institutions or cold hospital corridors. Let's talk about the cold, hard math. A semi-private room in a nursing home in 2026 can easily cost over $110,000 per year. For most middle-class families, that is a wealth-destroying fire. It consumes the inheritance, the house, and the peace of mind of the entire family. Contrast that with a village membership, which might cost you $500 a year. Even if you add in private home health aides for a few hours a week, you are still spending a fraction of what a facility would charge. Quote, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." The value of staying in your own home, sleeping in your own bed, and keeping your financial legacy intact is immeasurable. By opting into these alternative models early, while you are still healthy, you are essentially buying an insurance policy against the nursing home trap that catches so many families off guard during a medical crisis. But why haven't you heard more about these options? Follow the money. The traditional long-term care industry is a multi-billion-dollar machine. They have marketing budgets, lobbyists, and massive buildings to fill. They want you to believe that once you need help, your only safe option is their locked ward. They rely on crisis decision-making. The moment a senior falls and the hospital social worker says, they can't go home, pick a facility by tomorrow. This is the trap. When you are in a state of fear, you pick the most visible option, not the best one. This infographic shows the stark reality. We are overpaying for a level of care that often results in faster cognitive decline due to the institutional effect. True health isn't just about being monitored by a camera. It's about being engaged with the world. Independence is a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. In a traditional nursing home, everything is done for you. You are wheeled to dinner, your laundry is taken, and your schedule is set. While this sounds like luxury, it is actually a recipe for rapid decline. When we stop performing the activities of daily living, our brains and bodies begin to shut down. The village and co-housing models encourage assisted independence. You might need someone to help with the heavy lifting, but you are still the CEO of your own life. You are still choosing the groceries, still walking to the mailbox, and still engaging in the small struggles that keep us young. The soul is healed by being with children and community. By staying in a residential neighborhood, you remain part of the human tapestry, hearing the sounds of the world instead of the silence of a ward. We have to address the elephant in the room, the staffing crisis. In 2026, the shortage of qualified nurses and aides has reached a breaking point. Many large facilities are being forced to use temp agencies to fill shifts. This means the person helping you out of bed today might be a total stranger who has never seen your medical history and doesn't know your temperament. This lack of continuity of care is where dangerous mistakes happen, medication errors, missed signs of infection, and the general feeling of being just another body. In an adult family home, the owners are often the primary caregivers. They live there. They know the rhythm of your breathing. They know if you're off before a machine ever could. This level of personalized observation is the highest form of medical safety, and yet it happens in a living room, not a sterile clinic. There is a specific kind of silence in a nursing home that haunts people. It's the silence of a call button that has been ringing for 20 minutes because the two aides on duty are busy with emergencies in other rooms. It's the silence of a hallway where nobody is talking because everyone is tucked away in their separate units. This environment breeds a sense of helplessness that psychologists call learned helplessness. When you feel that your actions, like pressing a button, no longer result in a response, you stop trying. You withdraw. You age faster. But in the alternatives we're discussing today, the feedback loop is immediate. You call out, and a neighbor or a familiar caregiver answers. Your voice still has power. Your presence still commands a response. That is the dignity we are fighting for. Let's look at the story of Dorothy. At 84, Dorothy was told by her doctors that she needed 24-hour supervision. To her family, that meant one thing: the manor on the hill. For 3 months, Dorothy sat in room 214, bed B. She stopped eating. She stopped knitting. She became a compliant patient. But her daughter realized something was wrong and moved her into a local adult family home with only 4 other women. Within 2 weeks, Dorothy was back in the kitchen, supervising the making of apple pie. She wasn't bed B anymore. She was Dorothy. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Dorothy didn't need a hospital. She needed a household. She needed to feel the sun on a real porch, not through a double-paned industrial window. Her recovery wasn't medical. It was emotional. And that made all the difference. The transition from being a patient back to being a person is a psychological rebirth. When Dorothy threw away that room 214 wristband, she wasn't just discarding plastic. She was reclaiming her identity. In institutional settings, everything is designed to strip away the individual for the sake of the collective routine. You wear the gown, you eat the slurry, you follow the lights. But in a community-based model, your identity is the foundation of your care. Why does this matter for your longevity? Because the will to live is tied directly to the usefulness quotient. If you feel useful, if you feel that your presence at the morning coffee table matters to the other 4 people in the house, your body produces less cortisol and more oxytocin. You aren't just surviving, you are belonging. This is the biological reality of aging in place that the medical establishment is only now beginning to quantify. When we talk about care, we usually think of bandages and pills. But true care is the one-on-one human connection. In 2026, we are seeing a rise in microcare cooperatives. These are small groups of families who pool their money to hire a single, high-quality nurse to rotate between 3 or 4 homes in the same neighborhood. This creates a private village effect. You get the clinical oversight of a professional, but they aren't distracted by 50 other patients. They know your quirks, your history, and your family. They become a part of your life's fabric. To care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors. This model allows the caregiver to actually care without burning out. It's a sustainable ecosystem that protects both the senior and the worker. It's the end of the conveyor belt of senior health and the beginning of the boutique era of aging. Preparation is the only antidote to a crisis. If you are watching this in your 60s or 70s, now is the time to hard home your environment. Most people wait until they fall to install a grab bar or a ramp. By then, the decision is often taken out of your hands by a hospital discharge planner. What if you spend a few $1,000s now to make your home future-proof? We're talking about curbless showers, wider doorways, and smart home sensors that can detect a fall without you having to wear a panic button. When your home is physically ready for your older self, the nursing home becomes a choice, not a necessity. You are essentially building your own private facility within the walls of your own memories. It's the smartest investment you can make, not for the value of the real estate, but for the value of your freedom. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. There is something profoundly healing about the act of gardening, and it is the first thing lost in a facility. In co-housing and village models, the garden is often the center of life. Digging in the dirt provides sensory stimulation, vitamin D, and gentle resistance training for your muscles. But more than that, it provides a sense of future orientation. When you plant a seed, you are making a silent promise to be there when it blooms. This forward-looking mindset is the secret of the world's centenarians in the blue zones. They don't live in facilities, they live in gardens. They stay connected to the cycles of life. By choosing an alternative living situation that keeps you close to the earth, you are literally syncing your biological clock with the natural world, which slows the internal clock of aging. Time is the only currency that matters as we age. In a nursing home, time is killed. You wait for the meal, you wait for the med pass, you wait for the visit. It is a passive existence. But in these alternative models, time is lived. You are an active participant in the governance of your co-housing community. You are a member of a village who might be helping a younger neighbor with their taxes while they help you with your groceries. This intergenerational reciprocity is the key to staying sharp. When you stop being the person who needs help and start being the person who contributes, your brain structure actually changes. Neuroplasticity doesn't stop at 80. It stops when we stop being challenged. The tragedy of the nursing home is that it removes all challenge, and in doing so, it removes the reason for the brain to stay online. The village directory is more than just a list of names. It's a map of your social safety net. In 2026, these directories are becoming digital lifelines. They connect you to time banks, where you can deposit an hour of your time, perhaps reading to a child or knitting a sweater, and withdraw an hour of help when you need a ride to the airport. This shadow economy of senior care is what will eventually break the back of the institutional industry. It bypasses the insurance companies and the corporate landlords and puts the focus back on human-to-human exchange. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. By participating in a village, you are building a form of wealth that no stock market crash can take away. You are investing in your neighbors, and they are investing in you. It is the ultimate return on community. Technology often scares seniors, but in the right context, it is the ultimate tool for independence. We aren't talking about complicated social media. We're talking about ambient sensing. Today, we have floors that can tell if you've fallen, stoves that turn off automatically if left unattended, and medication dispensers that talk to your pharmacist. When these tools are integrated into a village or co-housing setting, they provide a digital halo of safety. Your family can check an app and see that you've opened your refrigerator and moved around the house, giving them peace of mind without them having to call and ask, "How are you doing?" every 5 minutes. This preserves your privacy and your dignity while providing the 24-hour supervision that doctors often demand, but without the 24-hour intrusion of a nursing home staffer. Imagine a cold winter night. In a facility, you are in a room with a roommate you didn't choose, under a thin blanket, listening to the hum of a ventilation system. In an adult family home, you are sitting by a real fireplace in a communal living room. There's a cat sleeping on the rug. Someone is making tea in the kitchen. The atmosphere is one of hygge, the Danish concept of coziness and soul comfort. The ache for home lives in all of us. This comfort isn't just a luxury. It's a biological necessity for a healthy immune system. Stress, the kind of chronic stress caused by being in an unfamiliar, sterile environment, suppresses your ability to fight off illness. A cozy, familiar, and warm environment is a medical intervention in its own right. It's time we started prescribing home instead of just care. The co-housing kitchen is a place of power. It's where the community gathers to decide how to spend their shared budget, what gardens to plant, and how to support a member who is going through a rough patch. In this setting, you are a citizen, not a resident. This sense of agency, the ability to have a say in your surroundings, is the single most important factor in maintaining cognitive health. When you lose the right to choose your menu or your neighbors, your brain begins to prune away the decision-making neurons that it thinks it no longer needs. By choosing co-housing, you are giving your brain a daily workout in social navigation, budgeting, and cooperation. It's like a gym for your personality. You stay you for much longer because you are still in charge. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the unthinkable, once wrote that the last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. As we age, we may not be able to choose the aches in our joints or the fading of our eyesight, but we can choose where we stand. Choosing an alternative to a nursing home is an act of defiance. It is a statement that your life still belongs to you. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. When you have a village to support you, a co-housing community to engage you, or a small home to cherish you, your why remains clear. You aren't just waiting for the end. You are living the climax of your story. This is the philosophical core of the Wisecast. Aging is not a decline. It is a graduation. So what is the first step? It starts with a conversation, long before you think you need it. It starts by looking at your current house and asking, is this house my friend or my enemy? If it has 50 stairs and a high-maintenance yard, it might be your enemy. Moving into a village-friendly neighborhood or investigating a local adult family home while you are still mobile gives you the first-mover advantage. You get to pick the best room. You get to build the relationships before you need to rely on them. Walking confidently toward your future means admitting that your needs will change and being brave enough to design a life that accommodates those changes without surrendering your joy. Confidence isn't the absence of aging. It's the presence of a plan. There is a document that is more important than your will, your values directive. Most legal forms focus on what you don't want. No tubes, no machines. But a values directive tells your family what you do want. It says, I want to hear the birds, or I want to be in a place where people know my name, or I refuse to be bed B in room 214. A life well lived is a life well planned. When you put these desires in writing and back them up with the financial strategies we've discussed, you take the guilt burden off your children. They don't have to wonder if they're doing the right thing. They just have to follow the blueprint you've already laid out. You are giving them, and yourself, the gift of certainty in an uncertain season of life. Look at the faces of the people who have chosen these paths. They aren't patients. They are gardeners, artists, neighbors, and friends. They are living proof that the nursing home is a choice, not a destiny. The system wants you to believe that aging is a series of losses, but these models prove that it can be a series of new connections. By pooling resources, utilizing smart technology, and prioritizing human-scale community, we are dismantling the old, industrial model of senior care. MC13, we are entering the age of autonomy. Whether it's through the village model, co-housing, or a small adult family home, the goal is the same: to ensure that your final decades are as rich and meaningful as your first. You have spent a lifetime building your world. Don't let the system take it away at the finish line. As the sun rises on a new day, it also rises on a new era of senior health. We are no longer limited by the binary choice of home alone or the institution. There is a vast, beautiful middle ground that is growing every single day. The village is expanding. The co-housing movement is spreading. And the adult family home is becoming the gold standard for personalized care. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The second best time to plan for your independence is today. Don't wait for a fall. Don't wait for a diagnosis. Start researching the villages in your area. Look at the architecture of your life and see where you can add the human touch that keeps the institutions at bay. I'm 82 years old, and I've seen both sides of this coin. I've seen friends disappear into the clinical hum of the machine, and I've seen friends flourish in the warmth of a shared home. The difference isn't money, and it isn't luck. It's the courage to choose a different way. You are the architect of your own final chapters. Make them chapters of connection, dignity, and peace. You don't have to go to a nursing home. You can choose this instead. You can choose to stay yourself until the very last page is turned. Thank you for watching this special report from the Wisecast. If this helped you, share it with a friend who is standing at the crossroads. Together, we can build a world where growing old isn't something to fear, but something to do with pride. I'll see you in the next one.